Advisory Commission meeting. It is January 15th and it is 5:32. Stephanie, could you do the call to order? Or that was
Yes,
the roll call, I'm sorry.
I knew what you meant. Um, in no particular order, or maybe Commissioner Brinkerhoff. You can
Present.
just say thanks. Commissioner Hardy,
Present.
Commissioner Nemeth,
Here.
Commissioner Young,
Here.
Commissioner Flores,
Here.
and Commissioner Gates. I see you, Carleen. Whether or not you can respond. All right. Okay, we are all here, and remember that Jeb is no longer with us, so we do currently have a vacant spot.
Great, thank you.
And yeah, there you
All
go.
right, so the next item is the approval of this meeting's agenda. You should have all gotten it from Stephanie in an email. Are there any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, could I get a motion to approve the agenda for this meeting?
Motion to approve.
And could I get a second?
Seconded.
Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Great. All right, so the agenda passes.
Great.
Next item on our agenda is the first public comment, and these are agenda items only.
All right, so I am not seeing any members of the public that are even on this call with us. So we're not going to do public comment this time, but there will be another opportunity for those listening in, wherever they are, at the end of the meeting as well.
Great, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the minutes from the previous meeting. Does anybody have any changes, additions, questions from the December meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none, could I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Thank you, Marcus. And a second?
Seconded.
Oh, great, thank you. Both Will and Jeff for that second. And then all in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Great. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. And the minutes from the previous meeting have been approved. Now we're on to our regular business, and these will be the agenda items. First thing is general updates.
All right, so starting it off tonight is talking a little bit more about our food assistance now that we have wrapped that up for the season. Because remember, well, I shouldn't say all of them, but our special ones that are additional will be joining us back again in spring, Prescription for Health, and then the grower-led ones, WIC and Senior Project Fresh. But the Double Up Bonus Bucks special program is done, and our other Double Up Food Bucks is still going. But my first two updates have to do with the Fair Food Network program, Double Up Food Bucks. So a really cool thing is we had thought that the unlimited matching that they did because of the SNAP pause in November was ended. But they are actually going to continue the unlimited match until they decide that they either, can't fund it or have a different decision that they're going to be making. And that may happen in the spring. But they're just unsure yet. So what that means is that if someone comes to the market office with their bridge card, they can get however much they want off their card, and we will match it dollar for dollar with Double Up Food Bucks, the silver tokens. So that's pretty exciting news that they're going to continue allowing people to maximize their benefit, which gives people additional food access. It also helps give vendors with produce a boost. So it's a win-win. And the really exciting news of the Double Up Bonus Bucks alone, which you may remember are a paper voucher that they unleashed in November, and it was only good for November and December. It ended December 31st. But to date, market vendors redeemed $20,290 just of Double Up Bonus Bucks in November and December alone. So that is huge. And it's fantastic that we were able to help people. And again, it's not just helping people get food access, it's also helping growers, right? At a time where the year is kind of, wrapping up, it could give people a boost, especially folks with hoop houses, storage crops, people that are still growing. And the upside is they also included frozen vegetables for this. So, there's pretty much one vendor that is impacted with that. But no, it's a fantastic thing. And the bulk of that money was in November. So it was about 5,500 in November, or sorry, I misspoke. In December, the bulk happened, which is even more surprising given how cold it got so early. So we're looking at about 5,000 of that in November and 15,000 in December. So it's huge. And the upside as well is in the beginning, they had said it was like a 1 per household thing, but we had some left over. So they were like, have at it. If people need them, if people are asking for them, give them out. So we gave all of ours out as well. So it's pretty cool. We were very, very excited to see those numbers. And additionally, other numbers. So for our SNAP 2025 numbers, we were at just under 53,000. So it's 52,717. And don't worry, I'm putting all of this in the minutes if you want to have a visual record. Double Up Food Bucks, the silver tokens, vendors redeemed $50,458. And then with our Prescription for Health, our much more localized program, vendors redeemed $3,641. So that is a grand total for food assistance for 2025 of $127,106 that vendors, growers, and others were able to redeem. So that is kind of bringing us back to the target we had been at in the past before they took away WIC and Senior Project Fresh from the way that they had been doing it before. And that was obviously because of the bonus books, it was boosting us up back to the levels we used to have prior to the so-called modernization of those programs. So that is my food assistance update for y'all. If anyone has any questions or comments.
That's great. That's really exciting. Just one clarification, because the numbers were flying past me quickly. Is the 127,000, does that include not only the federal assistance programs, all the assistance programs, but also the Double Up Food Bucks in that number?
Yeah, that's everything.
Okay.
The only thing
great.
it does not include is the WIC program, which Carlene is basically our only participant as of right now, and the Senior Project Fresh program, which we had 3 participants this past year. So that's the only part it does not include is those 2. But Double Up Food Bucks, SNAP, Prescription for Health, and Double Up Bonus Bucks are all in that number of the 127,000 plus.
Great. Does anybody else have any food assistance questions? Okay.
Great.
Stephanie, one of the things that I was just thinking about is in the past, and I think it's been 2 or 3 years, you did a general summary report on the farmers market that had all these numbers, and it was really nice because it could be shared out. And I was just wondering if you will be doing one of those for 2025.
Yep, it is in process. Alunia is actually taking the lead on it as we speak. She sent a draft to all of us market staff last week. So it is in process. And we had one from 2023. I don't know if it got fully shared because it was a little bit like after the fact. But I mean, I do have those food assistance numbers from all of the years. I just don't necessarily have a full report. If people wanted to see it side by side, we could share that.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad that you're going to do a report for 2025. I actually use it in teaching, so I'm excited that to see that. So, and hi, Carlene, it's nice to see you.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, we finally can. Hooray.
All right. Well, it's hard to make any adjustments when you're not on a Zoom meeting.
True.
That's great. All righty. So if there's no other questions about all that wonderful news about food assistance, then we're up to the 2026 applications.
All right. For those that don't know, it's application season. It has begun and people are hitting the ground running getting these in. So applications are live for returning vendors, for new vendors, mobile food vendors, musicians, community groups, and food truck rallies. And Jay did a great job putting together a little social media post that encouraged people to apply for those things. And we thought we'd maybe do it a little differently than in the past because we haven't really marketed our musician openings or community groups. We kind of just did that as it comes, like people approaching us. So we thought maybe it could be helpful to get additional people in the mix if we let people know that that exists in addition to our regular farmers market vendors. So those are very much live. And I can tell you, I checked right before the meeting. As of right now, we have had 10 returning vendors submit their applications. We've had 18 new vendors apply already. And this went live, like last week or the week before. It has not been very long. We've had 2 musicians apply, and other people have inquired but haven't necessarily filled out the application yet. And then we have had 1 food truck rally vendor apply as well. So it's seeming like we are going to be following last year and years past, where we're going to have a high volume of new folks wanting to join us. So I don't know if anyone has any questions or comments so far about that.
Just remind me what the social media venues you're able to use, because I remember there used to be
We're
some
just
restrictions.
we're just on Facebook and Instagram. There used to be a market Twitter. We haven't really used it, and especially since they decoupled from the other platforms, that they would just auto post from one to the next. We don't do that any longer. I'm not sure if we can have a TikTok, like as the developments have changed. I would need to get more clarity on that. But as of right now, Instagram is our primary. And then all of our stuff just sort of auto posts to Facebook as well.
Okay.
Are there any printable handouts about information about the different types of applications that are open that could be like shared throughout, like in different community spaces to attract like new musicians or creatives or vendors, or is it exclusively online?
It's online now. We
Okay,
used to have everything on paper, but we moved away from that last year. But if it was, like a barrier, we could probably put something together that we can print out, like an application specifically.
sure.
But beyond that, like we haven't really promoted it pretty much ever, I think, for the musicians. But that's definitely something, like if you know folks, if you have an idea of like where you want to send it, we can definitely do that.
Okay, sounds great.
I mean, it's just one of the spaces that I'm in a lot, but I know Argus has boards that usually have that kind of community thing. That's probably a similar musician vibe,
Right.
maybe.
Okay.
So that could be one place, but
All right. Yeah, good ideas.
And it actually could just be something with a QR code on it that people could scan and
That's what I was thinking exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I have a question about our application. If you're not mailing them out, how do we go about getting them?
They're online, so you need to check your email because you have been given multiple opportunities to locate the link. But if you're still not, if you're still having issues, just come see us in the office during market and we can get you sorted out. Because
Okay.
we're really trying to not do paper applications unless it's, some disaster. But if that means people need to come into the office and we'll help work you through it, that would be good. And I also think your Nemeth Orchard email is no longer functional. We keep getting bounce backs from it, so maybe that's why you guys didn't see it. But I did send it to your email.
Yeah, she'll look into that. Can you look into that today? She'll look into it today and see what's going on with that, and then I'll check with my mom on hers.
Awesome.
Right.
Yep. And the reason for the change, obviously, is like we're trying to streamline it. It's a lot easier if we have it all in one format. Because the paper one, it was more of like you're checking it to see that your old responses were correct if you're a returning vendor, whereas this new one, you do actually need to refill it. And what we have been offering folks is like if they want to look at their last year application or they didn't save it or something like that, like we can send that to vendors. So if you want to kind of like, copy down what you had, so it's not like starting from scratch all again. but that is the one negative with our online platform that we're using, is we can't just, redo it like we did before, where we would send it to the vendor and you'd be like, yep, looks good. I think the other thing that's good about that, though, is having to revisit, because sometimes things are on application for years and that might be a crop you don't even grow anymore, yet it's still on there. So I think having a fresh start could be helpful in that way, although I know it is a little harder for vendors.
Yeah, I was thinking that the just stamping that we're still doing the same thing is probably not always relevant. Like some people, it's just a few crops, but some people go from like pork to flowers to mushrooms or things like that. So you want to make sure that
and there might be a staff person on there that hasn't worked for you for 4 years, and you don't have the new people on there. So I think it's good to kind of take a fresh look. But yeah, if folks need help, please reach out.
And how are you assisting the Amish farmers?
Yep, same thing. For them, we'll definitely work with them to fill out a paper application. But I mean, as I said, there's still exceptions. But unlike last year, where we're doing like a whole bunch of people with paper, we're really trying to only reserve it to people that have, in actual barriers. Not people that just like, oh, I don't feel like doing it online, but people that like literally can't do it because of internet access or whatever. And to remember, last year too, we had some vendors come into the office and we helped them fill it out on our computers. So that's another option too for folks that don't have access to internet and stuff like that. So we're equipped and ready to assist.
Great. Any other questions about the applications? Okay. Next thing is logos.
Okay, so as you may have remembered, or maybe not, we are changing over the financial software that the market uses to track everything from invoice processing to token sales on market days, and other things that as they are necessary. So this is something that's mandated from the finance department. This was not a decision we chose. This is something that we are told that we have to be doing. So we've been having some trainings. Market staff completed an additional training in early January. So we had two I guess that one was virtual, but we did have an in-person one, but it was with all market staff that could attend. And this second meeting was really focusing on like the vendor invoicing part, which we're going to be able to take control of, which is pretty exciting given all the issues that we've had in the past with incorrect amounts or wrong addresses. Like we can actually real-time edit that now in a way that we could not before. But the first day that we will be using that is January 24th is our transition date. So coming soon. You may not notice much difference from a vendor perspective, especially the first year, because you're probably just going to still get your vendor receipts as they look. But as we move towards this, you'll have an opportunity to go into your account and see, what has been paid in a way that's a little easier. So you don't have to, ask us. You'll have your own, I guess it's technically an account, like on the Civic Rec, where you can look at stuff. You can track things. If you don't want to, if you don't care about any of that information, there's no requirement unless, you can still pay with check. You can still pay us in person. Like you don't have to pay online, but it makes online payment much, much easier than it was before. So those are updates on that. Any questions or comments on that?
Okay. Next thing is the facilities and repairs.
All right. So as we mentioned before, there is a project coming soon that will be repairing damaged columns that are holding the roof up, as well as replacing the bolts that hold those columns in place. And I do have a visual that was shared with me by the park planner. If you would like to see it, I will share my screen.
Sure.
And I will also give it to you when I put the minutes together for the next meeting.
Perfect.
All right, so if you can see that, so there's a couple different color-coded symbols, and that is explaining, what is happening there. And so, for example, the orange triangle, They're going to be cleaning the base plates and installing grout, just sort of making it look nicer, probably sandblasting all of the iron stains on there, repairing if there is a cracked concrete. So that's what's happening in the places where there's the triangle. The blue circle is where they are replacing the lower portion of the column. So the good news, as you can see, there's not that many columns that are at that level of damage, right? There is about 6, which is very good news. And then the blue square is just where the bolts are missing. They either have come off, they eroded from salt exposure, or whatever. And that is the most prevalent. But again, those are just and then kind of strategize ways forward. So we'll see what comes of that. All right, and that's the last thing I have to say about that
Right.
bullet point.
Glad you guys are talking, and her concerns are parking and noise and things like that.
Right. And
Okay.
other things. But mainly the issues that we've had working with this particular developer,
Okay,
and how difficult that has been.
okay,
And being concerned that now there's another project with that same group.
Yep.
And what that's going to mean. But mainly also like it being very much over schedule. She reminded me that the 303 project has been underway for 3.5 years.
yeah,
Which is far beyond what they projected, and it's still nowhere near being done either. So doesn't it doesn't inspire confidence in the new one, we'll say. So
well, and in some aspects, the newer building, the 303 building, is more complicated since it's the old
Yep.
building, and they're doing some fancy things like the parking stuff. So yeah.
right. Yep. Okay.
All righty. So the next thing on the agenda is officer elections. So this is what we usually do at our January meeting. The procedure is we usually talk about it and do some nominations. And then Stephanie asks us to email our votes. At least we used to do it on
Yep.
paper in person
Yes.
when we were in person, but that's how we've been doing it now. So this is usually an awkward stage, but I would like people to either self-nominate or people to nominate someone else. Just a reminder that I am hitting my term limits in May, so I can no longer be one of the officers for the PMAC. I'll open this up for discussion, and if anyone would like to step forward, and as I mentioned last time, chair is usually what you're seeing now, running the meeting. Stephanie puts together the agenda. Usually do some homework and make some lists of other things that I'd like to talk about. It's not a lot of homework. And being the chair also allows you, if you want, to do advocacy for the market. But that's also a choice. And then the vice chair steps in when the chair is not there. So, all righty.
I will say my term.
Not everyone all at once.
My
Oh, sorry.
term's up in May. It's my first term, but I'll at most be able to serve a partial term for the second term. We can talk about whether that makes sense to just end in May or serve a partial term. But I likely won't be able to do the.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that too, because I know they were asking me, what your status was. And I'm like, I don't know. But no, I mean, it's totally precedent for people to do partial. Like, if that's what you want to keep doing, like, you can totally do that. And then we can just have some new person come and take over the rest of what you have left. So that's a ton of people have done that before.
Then I can plan to go at least through August, and I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question mark. Yeah.
Life is a question mark right now, end of grad school. So
Yes.
that said, it does not make sense for me to be
Right.
here.
Right.
And just a reminder that the chair and vice chair are just for a year.
Yep. So yeah, every January we do this. We have this conversation again.
Lisa, if I can ask, when you said do advocacy for the market, could you be specific about what that looks like?
There have, like with this construction coming up, I've gone, it's only been two, but it's been for these two, the 330 and the 303 Detroit, projects. I've gone to the planning commission meetings just to be a voice to say, you know, be a good neighbor. How are you planning for market days? Originally with 330, and Stephanie was at that meeting too. They were planning to do all the staging on Detroit Street, like close it down. And so, I just was there saying, this doesn't make sense for the market, but also that's a brick street. What's going to happen with all that heavy construction material? And that was sort of enough to shake some conversation loose to think about other ways to do the construction. And so they moved it onto, what is that, fourth there.
Mhm.
So there's
Okay.
been that. There's, occasionally when I know parking's been an issue on Detroit Street, I've taken pictures of the construction vehicles that are there and then just like emailed them to Remy. When there were openings for PMAC, and we had heard that there were applications in, but the city wasn't moving very fast. I just emailed the mayor and said, we've got these openings. We really need new people on. When are you going to make the decisions? So it's been that sort of advocacy. And that's not a requirement. It's totally optional. I just feel like, part of our role in PMAC is to be helping and promoting the market. And so that was just one way to also provide a voice.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, by the way.
Yeah, and there's lots of other opportunities too that the chair could think up. So, yeah.
So basically, it's okay for us to nominate who we think should be it, or
Sure.
okay. So I'm just going to
Yes,
say,
indeed.
I think Carlene should be chair because she's at market every day,
Ooh.
and I think that Will and Marcus could fight over who's going to be vice chair.
I
Arlene, are you okay with this?
I would rather be vice chair
Okay.
because of the fact that I'm still learning how to use
Right.
Zoom.
Right.
That's the only reason.
Okay.
I can advocate for the market
Okay.
anyway.
No, that makes sense.
Carlene has also been on this commission before. That's yeah. But I understand the Zoom issues.
Yeah, I'm better today than last time, but I'm not completely done.
Okay. But you would put your hat in the ring for vice chair.
Yeah, I would do that.
And I don't know if any new person is feeling extra spicy and wants to take on the chair role. You totally can. Or Jeff, you can do it if you want to.
When would this switch of chairs take place?
Effective in the February meeting. Because pretty much what happens is y'all send me your emails and then I announce it. Like I'll let you know in advance, but we'll officially announce it on the February meeting, and that's when it takes effect.
But I'll be there to help if you need any help.
Right. And we will all be there to help as well. But I think it's important to keep in mind, like, it's not a huge time commitment, really. You're just basically facilitating the meeting in partnership with me. And then, as Lisa said, additional stuff if you want to take it on, but that's certainly not required.
The only complicated thing is really when we have to bring for a vote, like when we vote on changing the bylaws or the operation rules of the market. But we've done a lot of that work already, so I don't think those sort of voting issues are going to come up. And then it's if there's public comment where there's issues that have come up, which we've had in the past, although I think everything is running smoothly, just making sure that facilitating those discussions is part of it. So
What's the protocol for, let's say Marcus decided he was going to be chair, and let's say it wasn't working out for him, or he said, hey, this isn't what is it something that can be changed halfway through, or does it have to wait for the special election thing?
I do not know the answer to that question. I would assume the vice chair could step into their role, and I don't think we would need to like formally change anything. Because basically the vice chair is supposed to do what the chair does if the chair has to be absent for any reason. So I would assume we would just do that, but I don't know if there's anything about like a revote or something.
I'm trying to remember the bylaws, but I
Yeah, I've
think what
never,
you
I
said,
don't,
Stephanie, I don't
I
think
haven't
we've
seen
ever
anything
come up
written
on.
that says anything about that there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah.
Could I nominate Marcus maybe to be chair if that's something you're interested in, Marcus, or have the ability to do?
I have the bandwidth for it. Yeah, I appreciate the vote. I would be willing to accept that. Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
yay. Also, I want to say this is nice to have a vendor and a customer neighbor on, because oftentimes the scheduling for the vendors, like Carlene, can get a little crazy in the fall. So it's often nice to have people with different scheduling constraints. So thank you both. So what I hear is that we have nomination for Marcus to be chair and Carlene to be vice chair. So if you could all send Stephanie an email with your votes, that would be wonderful. Thank you all very much. That was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
All right. So yes, the nomination, just to reiterate, for chair is Marcus, and for vice chair, it is Carlene. And as I said, once everyone gives me your votes, I will tally them and tell you, but it will be officially announced in February, but you'll all know in advance, and then we will go from there.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Now we're on to new business.
All right. Well, we have a new assistant manager with us. And I guess it slipped my mind because December was the holidays, and that was a time we could have done it too. But I would like to welcome Tyler Moss, our new assistant market manager and market inspector, to the fray. So you have the floor, Tyler. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
And anything else.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hey, everybody. My name is Tyler. As you all heard, I am the new assistant market manager and inspector. I moved to Ann Arbor in July, so I'm relatively new to the area. Prior to being in Ann Arbor, I worked at Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank for a little while, helping with food security in that area. I went to graduate school over there. I was doing my thesis mostly in solid waste management, which of course revolves around food in many ways. And I'm really happy to be here and really happy to be on this team.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. I don't know if anyone has any questions for Tyler or comments.
Welcome, Tyler. Glad you're here. Yeah. All righty, great.
Okay, is there any other new business?
This is Carlene. The one thing that I would like us to explore for this coming year, considering all of the construction that continues, as well as the fact that more and more parking seems to be evaporating around the market, if we could investigate anything to do with a dedicated shuttle from the parking structure to the market on busy Saturdays. Something that would be free and well advertised.
Cool. And the one thing I did forget to mention, now that Dunbar is being completed, they're supposed to be returning a bunch of underground public parking spaces. From what I heard before, it was supposed to be 18 spots. Will be coming back underneath that building.
Is there
for the public, not for their residents. Sorry, what?
The wayfinding stuff that was going on, is that still in the ether?
I would assume so. I haven't heard anything. The DDA is the one that is taking the lead on that in partnership with the Ann Arbor Art Center. But yeah, I've not heard anything about that recently, but I should reach back out and see if anyone knows anything.
Carlene?
Yeah, I do think that I will say that I've just been working a lot on paperwork. The sales in Ann Arbor declined this past year from the year before. And I think it has so much to do with the parking. That's the big complaint we hear from people. They
Sure.
don't know where to go. And even those 18 parking spots would be a help, but that's going to have to be advertised too. Maybe it'd be time now to start thinking about and exploring ways that that can be done, because that really is a deterrent for people. And my son Joe said to me today, he says, the market is supposed to be for everybody, for the whole community, for fresh local produce, not just, and other local items, not just for the community right around the market where they can walk or ride their bike. And if we
Yep.
get very many people riding their bikes, we don't have very many bike racks either.
Right. Although last year they did put a new corral in next to Sweetwater. So that is one that the DDA did solve last year. But yes, I hear you for sure. And I'm hopeful that, you know, the Dunbar Tower development being done is a little bit less of a deterrent, because even turning on to Fourth can be difficult with that giant fencing and then the traffic jams that result because people are parking in like that non-spot by the entrance. And then no one can get through because it bottlenecks right in that space. So I agree. And I also noticed that they rerouted one of the bus lines, so it actually goes right past the market now on Fourth. I don't know where the stop is in relationship to that, but I think there's definitely some information we could find out about and share with folks once we have it.
I'm wondering with transport from the parking structure, if we could revisit an idea that Peter Wolf had brought up with helping people get produce to their cars. And we talked about the Boober folks. And I wonder if that's a really easy possible way to help with transport.
I talked to Kevin about
Yeah,
it.
I was going to say,
They
yes.
are not interested because their big time is Friday night.
Oh,
So they don't.
Basically, yeah.
Their money maker and like main line for their business is going to be Friday and Saturday night. So early Saturday morning is not
understood.
interest to them.
Thanks for asking though, Emma.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other things for the new business?
So I have my usual squeaky wheel new business. There was a article in the Observer at the end of November that was talking about the visioning process and said it was going to start getting somebody to do the visioning process for the market in early 2026. So
Yep.
I'm wondering what the schedule is on that.
I keep asking. I have not heard any information yet. I think also that article was published like without having talked to people in a really long time. I know they had a quote from me in there from like probably 2 years ago. And they didn't reach back out rather about that. So I had a meeting about the market roof structure repairs with Adam and Remy and the new planner either last week or the week before, recently. And they, had to remind them, hey, every day that goes by that we don't have this plan in place, we are in the trailer. And it hasn't been done. And then again, as I said before in the conversation about the construction, if they were going to stage on our space, that kind of locks us into like having that not be possible, the reconstruction on a timeline that makes sense. So I have asked again recently, so hopefully that will go into play soon. But I do not know the timeline, sadly.
I hear you on the interviews. It did look like they talked to Milton Dohoney on for that interview. It looked like they were more recent things. So
I just don't think he's a party necessarily to like the nitty-gritty details like that. I mean, it's very difficult to find out information like that, even as somebody, you know what I mean? Like I had that whole meeting with the planners and all these people and this and that and this, and like I still am having a really hard time tracking down information So it may have just been talking in generalities and in hopes, right? Like we want to do this instead of like there is a plan. You know what I mean?
Well, my understanding is the next stage is to send out the request for proposal to get
Yes.
the company to do the community, to plan the
Right.
community engagement part,
Right.
and then we don't know about the implementation of that.
Well, right. And that's what I'm saying. Like we've been stalled at that step since the demolition happened.
Yeah.
And part of
Right.
that was due to the lack of staffing within parks planning, because remember, we went from 3 planners down to 1. Now, recently, they are back up at 3.
Okay.
So hopefully it will materialize. Because again, like they know that it needs to happen, but there's just, the pros plan and so many other things on the docket too.
Yeah, but DDA has committed money, and that's not gonna, I mean, it is in their plans, but we need to have a project that's moving forward. So
Right. And what I'm saying is I've done everything I possibly
yeah,
can
that's fine.
to encourage that and remind of that. But like I don't work in the planner's office. Like I can't force that to happen.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you're asking the questions, and as always, let us know if you want us to be a squeaky wheel too.
I've been asking this whole time. It just may not seem like it
No,
because the results have not materialized yet. But hopefully soon.
I recognize that you guys want to get out of the trailer too.
Yes. Especially these wind events, they keep taking the banners. I do not know, and by they I mean the wind. I do not know where 2 of them have gone. They vanished. I tried to look. I looked everywhere. But two of our banners that explain like the token stuff and our hours missing in action.
Is the trailer staying warm enough inside?
Yeah, we're fine. I mean, we have plenty of heaters. We're good. It's just more, the noise of being next to all the construction, the extreme wind that we've been dealing with recently. But yeah, we're totally fine. Like inside, it's and in the summer, it's definitely cool enough too. So no worries on that.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up is that we had talked last time about the potential for having an in-person meeting in February. So I wanted people to think about where they're at. One of the nice things that has happened in the past during the in-person meeting is that we've had one of the planners or Remy Long come to the meeting so that they could share with us in person some of the updates. So that was 2 thoughts there of, do we want to move forward with the February in-person meeting? Do we want to see if this is a time when we can get folks from parks like Remy or one of the planners to come and talk to us about moving forward on the market visioning process. And just a reminder, we're allowed 4 in-person meetings a year, but Stephanie facilitates the space within City Hall to have those meetings. So thoughts on an in-person meeting?
I can no longer make February. I'll be in surgery during the meeting.
I'm sorry.
But I could do March, but you can have, if everyone else can do February seems fine.
February is not really the best for me if it can be avoided.
Marcus and Will, how are you feeling about March, if we move till then?
March is good.
And Carlene and Jeff, how about you guys?
I'm good for either.
So just to clarify, March would be March 19th.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. All right. So let's move to the in-person in March.
All right.
And
we'll talk to the clerk and see what is available for space.
Great. And if you could let the parks planners and Remy know that we are going to be in person in March, and we would love to have them come talk to us. That would be wonderful.
I just don't know if they have any like additional information to share with you yet. I mean, and I think that's maybe what it should hinge upon. Like if we know more about the plan, otherwise, like I don't know if they're just going to be kind of repeating stuff that we all have already talked about. But we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
That would be great if they have something to do to tell us in March.
Probably not, but let's hope so. Let's be hopeful.
That would be lovely.
Great.
I guess that the other new business thing is that we do have an opening on PMAC for a daily vendor. So Stephanie, I know you've sent out emails to folks. Carlene and Jeff, can you rattle people's cages a little bit? Or Carlene, you are always so wonderful. You're the reason I'm on PMAC at inviting people. Encouraging folks. And Emma, you know a lot of the daily vendors too at the market. So
Yeah, is
encouraging
there a
people.
list of just the dailies? Sometimes hard to keep track of who's.
Yes, of course
And-
there is. So if you
Oh, like,
go
is there a public
to,
one?
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about. Yeah, so basically like the sign-in sheet I send out every week, there is a daily list, and that is the list of all of them.
Okay.
So I can send you that link. Because I
No,
don't know,
should-
you're on the regular email list, right?
I am, yeah.
As a
I
tutor,
should-
yeah. So just check that. Any of them, the second, right, there's like the annual tab and then the daily tab. Just look at that and has the current list.
Yeah, I just only usually look at who's actually going because I'm not signing up.
Yes. Well, if you just look at the beginning of the
Yeah,
week, email, it should have it.
And a good chunk of the artisans who move around at the market are daily vendors too. So
No, the vast majority of artisans are annuals. There's maybe
Okay.
like 4 that are not as of right now
okay.
because of the movings up in the things. But I can share that with you if you are curious. All right. Any last new business items?
Okay, hearing none, then we are on to our second public comment.
Are there any members of the public that would like to provide comment? All right. I will allow you to speak. And of course, as always, state your name before you provide the comment. Just got to unmute yourself and okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Debbie Marks. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, I'm so glad you scheduled an in-person meeting. I just had a heck of a time with a blackout of the meeting for 15 minutes where my screen went black. I got nothing.
Yeah, CTN had a technical difficulty on that, so they apologize.
Yeah, that was very, very frustrating and inconvenient. So I missed a lot. Like I said, the in-person meetings are so important, and we really have to push for more of those, actually. But I agree, Carlene, sales were low for me last year. Parking is the biggest complaint my customers have. I would like to see the city work with us. They are getting all the benefit of this new growth, and then we're kind of paying the price for it. I'd like to see maybe free market parking at Community High or within a half mile of the market for Saturday market hours, something we could advertise. Like Carlene said, it needs to be advertised that we have this available, and just throw us a bone with the parking at the market. It would really help a lot. I don't know what I missed, so bear with me. The bird deterrent apparatuses that are down there now, I don't know what that is. I don't know where they got the money. I don't know why they didn't go with our original plan with the netting. Anyway, all of that. I would really like to thank everyone on PMAC for their precious time that they've dedicated to this committee. We appreciate you so much. And it would be nice if the meetings got back to where they were in council chambers and we had, 15 people in the audience that were involved. And I think we can work and get back to that, hopefully. But again, thank you all very much for your time. It means everything to us. And see you at the market. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did
Any
see
other
those
member-
the other day and was wondering what on earth they were. It makes sense that that's what they are, but I forgot.
Yeah, so that was something that it's a long story, but they didn't check with us. They didn't check with a lot of people, and they don't work at all. So they're probably going to be removing those. And hopefully they will be replacing them with the thing that we did request was, like grading over the spine of the roof where the most of the nesting is happening. So it's almost as if we never saw those. They're going to be taking them down soon. So.
All righty, great. Thank you. All right, so if there's nothing else, then we are at adjournment. Everybody okay with that? All right, good. All right, it's 6:32. Thank you all for coming, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the February meeting. And Marcus, let me know if you need anything in terms of handoff for the chair.
I probably will, so I appreciate it.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks. Stay warm, and I'll see you at the market.